Seven names, no games as I run it down the line. We got Kenny Ken, put 100 on the tees with the streak for the cash. ESPN, Seth Curry with the shot. The prodigy. In reality, he's more like Seth, but he's all we got. Up next is Gentleman Jack, better known as Junior Blue. We told him not to do it anyway, but he did what he do. To his right is Devin, that dude, Eldad or Dirt Ass Dan. Just don't ask him a question, cause then he'll answer your question with another question, and then he'll add another question on top of that question. Damn. And I'm Red O, the Buck Wild Problem Child.
Flow Butter, aka John Cutter.
It's the league ambassadors, and we playing to win. At the 2-yard line, and make no mistake, we running it in. Pete Carroll, we see you.
Thank you for visiting 32 Kings Road, hosted by the league ambassadors. I'm Ambassador Kenny Ken, and it is my pleasure to be here today with my brothers. This is episode 41 in the second season of our show, and we are down to the Elite Eight. Well, not really elite, Tennessee. 8 teams in the 2017 NFL playoffs. As a reminder, you can follow us everywhere on social media. Our handle is @TheLeagueAM. That's Twitter, that's Facebook, that's Instagram. Also, please visit our website, theleagueam.com. Visit our blog spot on the website, Diplomatic Community. That's the place where fans of all shapes, sizes, colors, and creeds can say whatever they want to say about how they feel in terms of the world of sports. Visit our YouTube channel, League Ambassadors, where you can not only check out previous episodes of 32 Kings Row, but also our second vodcast, which will be starting in March, and that's Confirmation Bias. Let's get this show going. We're going to talk about the NFL playoffs and hot topics. Kevin, what you sipping on, baby?
I'm sipping on this good old-fashioned high fructose corn syrup. Second worst thing behind milk that the black man.
Shout out to Mike and PCP.
But I did notice a trend going back to last year's Super Bowl to last week's show with Devin's rant, and then with what we noticed this past weekend in the playoffs, that whenever a coordinator announces their plans for next season, it almost feels like they forget to coach in the game that they're playing in this season.
Matt Nagy.
And it, more often than not, ends in disaster.
What you sipping on, Jeff?
I'm sipping on this IPA here, and I'd like to discuss, something that has finally happened. Today was the pro debut of the Ball Boys.
Oh,
LaMelo, LiAngelo,
the Ball Brothers.
Yeah.
In Lithuania.
Mm-hmm. In the Big Baller Challenge, which is actually a thing. They got a couple of exhibition games. Today they combined for 29 points. This actually could be a big hit for the Baller brand if they actually do take off. I really do want to see them against some top-level professional competition out there. Let's see what happens. Hey, 100,000 people watch them on Facebook.
I'm sipping Corona, and I'm also sipping on Hennes and Moritz AB. The public knows this company as H&M, a Swedish multinational company, second largest global clothing company behind Zara. I'm sipping on H&M because what I want you to know, H&M, and the world at large, is that just because we have a clown-ass president doesn't mean that racist stereotypes and propaganda will be tolerated. And it's not acceptable. We reject you, H&M. And to that little boy's parents that allowed him to put that hoodie on, shame on you. That's what I'm sipping on. Red-O, what you sipping on?
Black fist up and everything. I'm sipping on a couple things. First, earlier today watching the
Hennessy though.
I am sipping on Henny. Was watching the Raiders news conference introducing the new coach, Chucky.
I'm gonna start calling Omar 2 for 1.
And I was sitting there thinking,
2 for none.
am I the only person who thinks that Mark Davis, Chucky, and Reggie, they was some 3 weird looking motherfuckers on stage.
Yes.
Yo, it was crazy.
They kind of all look alike.
It's right.
Well, first,
If you put Reggie in the middle,
who cuts all 3 of their hair?
Fuck.
somebody.
Whoa.
Somebody
needs to tell Mark that a grown man shouldn't have bangs.
Or a bowl.
Or both. You talk about 2 for 1. Fuck. And then Chucky got this weird part where his forehead just shines and it makes him look like a little kid almost, like a Rain Man type thing. And Reggie's just unfortunate. So like
Reggie really looks like Chucky.
it's weird.
Yeah, that's funny. It's strange.
It's very, and I was sitting here like, okay, I'm wrong for this, but damn. All right, and the real thing I want to talk about.
That's a shout out to Junior Blue.
Yeah, it's a shout out to Junior Blue. Right.
The college football national championship.
Great game.
Great ending.
It was a great game.
Well, that was my question. People are saying that this is one of the greatest national champion games ever.
Nah, I'm taking Ohio State and the U back in 2001 or 2.
I'm taking last year's national title game. I thought it was a very entertaining game. It was a defensive battle in the first half, and then the freshmen took over. 2 freshmen actually.
You talking about State Farm?
Oh,
Jake Fromm.
No. Oh, I didn't know where you was going with that. No, I'm talking about
hideous.
I'm talking about Mr. T. I'm just gonna call him Mr. T.
Good luck.
Wait, okay, so that's my next question. How do you pronounce his name?
Do you have an idea?
No.
I don't either.
I kept looking at it like well, first of all, it took me a year to learn Antetokounmpo's name.
It's 2 podcasts to learn it.
Right.
His name could actually be a football play because it's double T, no all vowels, no E. That's what I would call him. I call him double T, all vowels, no E.
I get Tua.
His last name, he's got the I, the O, and the A.
If I'm not mistaken, it's spelled TAG as in tag, OVAILA.
Yeah, I'm lost.
So Tua Tag. Let's leave it there. Tua Tag got a job.
Tua Tag got a job.
He's the quarterback that's of course going to get the glory from that game. But like Omar said, Jake from State Farm actually, in my opinion, I think he balled out given who he's playing up against. The way he was performing on third down, it just didn't happen for him down the stretch.
From he started off the season looking like a freshman, and by the time they got to the college football playoff, he had, and they say that about in college basketball, by the time the NCAA tournament comes around, you're a sophomore, and it literally looked like he had matured to that point. Georgia, they were rolling. I mean, Roquan Smith, that running back, Sony Studios is nice. Not Nick Chubb.
Mitchie or Mitchell?
Sony, I don't know how to say the last name, so Sony Studios. He looked nice. But yeah, Tua, gutsy call on Saban's part to make that.
Man, does her transfer?
Yeah.
The papers were drawn up. Last night, baby, at about 2 minutes into the...
What'd you say? In the third quarter?
In the third quarter. The papers were drawn up, baby. I mean, it's like we joked about in the chat. I put the gif out there from Dodgeball. The gutsy call, Cotton.
Yeah.
But, like, it didn't start out well. He came, I think he got a 3-and-out right off the bat, but then they got the ball back, and then he went up top and got the touchdown. But in that first drive, he did just miss Ridley on the deep ball.
Yeah.
It was fingertips, and that's from him not being in the game, not being warmed up.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he came out there, and he was firing.
They opened up the offense more, which is interesting because you would think that, really, gutsy call on Nick Saban's part, but you would think that with them going with the freshmen in such a key game that that they would actually be more conservative. And in actuality, they got more explosive, which is why they went there. Nick Saban basically said that, Georgia game plan to stop us from running the ball. And so I knew that the only chance that we had was we had to attack them in the secondary, and Tua gives us the best chance to win passing the rock.
So the next question is Saban the GOAT?
Well, I think he had a lot more leeway or rope to hang himself with because, he already had 5 national championships, right? So You're expected
can
to
go
win.
for it.
He can go for it, right?
It still counts.
Right,
though.
it's ballsy as hell because on one end you think, okay, they've been game planning for a month for Jalen Hurts, and then they stop that and they throw this monkey wrench in it that they didn't expect to see.
Whoa.
Hey, recall, total recall. And then it winds up working, but to me, it's a bigger indictment on Jalen Hurts as a football player. I mean, they didn't have the confidence to run those same kind of plays.
Yeah,
it's not two different playbooks. They literally opened up another side, like, okay, we can do this.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. He's. They're saying all the right things now, saying that it's going to be an open competition in the spring and all of that.
Get the fuck out of here with that bullshit.
Patricia gonna have to find a new school.
So just
Jeanette.
on that same topic.
Jeanette. He does look like a Jeanette, but that's Kenneth Fareed. Yeah,
It's an inside joke.
So
we don't need to go on whatever.
the college
is that too
playoff.
far?
Yeah.
I was ready to
Fool.
jump off.
The college playoffs.
Yeah.
is a hit. Do you think they need to expand it to 8 games?
Hell no. They already aren't paying them as it is. You want them to play another game?
Yeah, man. Regardless of the paying issue, like
They need to solve
Did we not get the champion?
Well, yeah, but here's the thing, though. What I will say, they need to solve this Power 5 discrepancy. And what I mean by that is Central Florida should have been in the conversation. They played all the games.
Over Alabama?
I don't know.
Actually wins it. That's the
I don't
problem.
listen. I don't know. They were a conference champion. They beat everyone in front of them. They were legitimately, like, you could see 2
won
years
a bowl,
ago.
too.
You could see 2 years ago. And beat Auburn, by the way. You could see 2 years ago that this class was going to be a
Kenya,
good class. Huh?
Guess who's an alumni from there?
From Central Florida?
Yeah.
Who?
Blake Bortles. Guess who else?
Who?
Rashad Perryman.
Hey, what's the
You're arguing against my case here.
what's the theme I'm sensing here?
No, they have to solve. They need to solve that issue because you can't say that the criteria is that you have to have a conference champion and a conference championship game, and then a team that has been undefeated. And a great coach. Like, you've got to solve that. I don't know if it's expanding the playoffs or what the case may be, but
They would have been in if you expanded it.
Yeah, Kev.
They would have been in.
Yeah, I agree with you, Ken. I mean, I like what they have now. I'd prefer to see it stay this way, but I think if you look at history, it's going to at some point expand. If you remember how feverishly they were trying to change from the 2-game to the 4-game, how long that took, the conversations that went into it just to get to this point, I think was progress. But over time, and especially with money involved, at some point, they're going to try to expand this, and I could see it going bigger than just the 4 games or 4 teams.
All right, let's get the fuck out of here with that bullshit. We don't have a Brexit boot bag winner this week because everybody is well behaved for now.
For now.
But we definitely have a get the fuck out of here with that bullshit. Dad, take it away.
All right, so let's just get this out the way. The winner is Jeff Triplette, straight up, off top. So let me just go into why he is. Of course, that's my job. But so the way that this works for the NFL playoffs is they assemble all-star referee crews. And they base that on the highest grades at each position within the crew of the reffing crews, which is completely different from any other regular game because each head official or lead official has a crew that they stick with the entire 17 weeks. And they go around and they ref the games. So this means that Mr. Triplette made the cut as the lead official in the wild card portion of the playoffs. Now, to say that he had a bad day is being kind. He had a really
He ain't trying to be kind.
rough go at it. So let me just run down some of the things that occurred on this game Saturday. He reffed the Tennessee Titans versus the Kansas City Chiefs game,
Which was a complete shit show. Al Michaels lost his shit.
and he wasn't even
Which
doing that
is-
game. He wasn't even doing that game.
Right.
So to start with, he had a tough time just getting the calls out correctly on his mic. He mumbled and stumbled across a bunch of different penalties. He even called penalties on numbers of guys who weren't even on the field or even on the roster of the team. He had to come back after commercials and correct the number of the person he called the penalty on.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
Then he said that Mariota was eligible for the touchdown pass that he threw and caught to himself and ran it in.
Yeah.
He was eligible because he was in the shotgun set. Had nothing to do with the fact that the defender touched the ball.
Right.
Then
Making it up as he goes.
along.
One would think he was sipping on something on the job.
Look, dilly.
dilly. Then there was a first down run that they marked 3 yards short that the Titans had to challenge just to get the right call.
Right.
But to me, that wasn't even the biggest problem that he had that day. He actually had a problem figuring out when to actually blow his whistle. So whether it was too soon or not at all. So the too soon aspect of it, Derek Johnson sacked Mariota with 2 minutes left in the first half. The score was 14-0, I believe. If he called that properly, it would have resulted in a turnover. Tennessee does not kick a field goal and make it 14-3 going into the half. Or they don't score 3 points. That's 3 points.
Right.
Count that for me, guys. 3. All right. Then, on the go-ahead touchdown in the fourth quarter, I believe it was who caught the TD? The white receiver.
Eric Decker.
Eric Decker caught the touchdown. They went for 2 to expand the lead, which would have put them up 3 because they were only up 1. He was sacked on the 2-point conversion, blew the play dead. He actually fumbled it. They pick it up and run it back for a potential 2-point conversion.
Which is what it should have been.
Which what it should have been, but he called it dead. That's 2 points plus 3 is 5.
Yep.
I think
Okay.
that's 5. 1, 2, 3, 4.
That's 5.
Yes,
Okay.
that's 5.
Then, on a play that we actually posted on Twitter because of the great call by Sean McDonough.
Sean McDonough.
Derrick Henry.
He was getting his rocks off.
He showed the fuck off.
Derrick Henry, he was clearly down on that fumble recovery for a touchdown that sent the crowd crazy, thinking that they came back and won the game. And they had to actually challenge that shit and spend time to do that. You hurt the fans in that, and you give us a piss poor product. And to be honest, Kansas City should have won the game by 4 points because they just took 5 off the board from them.
Yeah.
So I can say this assuredly that we'll never have to say this again.
That's right.
Because Mr. Jeff Triplette, you retired. So please
Get the
fuck out of here with that bullshit.
I think that's the only place you can go when you have that bad of a day at the office. You fire yourself.
He got a
I'm
call
outta
from
here.
the bat phone. Listen,
Don't come back.
don't come back.
Yeah.
Hey, you had a good run, son.
The sack fumble was so egregious.
Yeah, it was.
How do you call forward progress on that play? How can you?
He's either drinking on the job or he's on the take. Neither one of those explanations are acceptable.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
Neither is that.
Well, he's been often cited as the worst head lead official in the NFL.
Jeff Triplette.
Well, not anymore.
Not anymore.
Someone else will be.
He's done.
Hey, Daddy said, if you're going to do something, be the best at it. You're going to be the worst, be the best at it.
Be the best at
All right, let's get to some football tea. We've got a lot of hot topics going on in the NFL. We will first start with a story that actually broke Thursday after we did our show Thursday evening. Mr. Seth Wickersham of ESPN delivered a tremendous expose
dilly.
on the state of the New England Patriots. Basically said that owner Robert Kraft insisted to Bill Belichick, that he trade Jimmy Garoppolo. We also learned from that article that Tom Brady is a kook. He's all in on Alex Guerrero. And we also learned
Sounds
that
familiar.
Bill Belichick is all out on Alex Guerrero.
It sounds very familiar, doesn't it?
Brady
Tiger Woods.
was we also learned that he was intimidated and threatened by Jimmy G.
As he should have been.
All this is allegedly.
And right. And we also learned that basically the holy triune of football is on its last leg. So the question I have for you guys is this newsworthy? Because of course there's standard denials. You know, everybody's saying there's nothing to see here. Or is this legitimate? Kevin, I will go to you first because you look too giddy.
Yes, it's newsworthy. We've been waiting 20 years for these bitches to crack. And they did it at the perfect time. Listen, whether or not all of this is legitimate or not, I don't know. I don't care. But it's definitely possible because we all know that when you get to that age, we've seen all the greats go through it. Kobe, Jordan, Montana, all of them, when they get to that age, they want to continue to play at a high level, but know that the organization has the plan to move on without them as soon as that time comes. Now, I was certainly surprised when the Pats made the trade with Garoppolo, especially after Jacoby Brissett left, because then you would assume that, as the streets call him, Guwop Garop was going to be their future. So when I saw that, I was like, wait, well, then what are they going to do when, let's say, 2 to 3 years, maybe when Brady, finally moves on? But this is great, man. I'm glad to see that there's some type of contention in the Justice League, and we'll see. I think we'll see how it plays out because they could very well come out on the field this weekend, beat the shit out of Tennessee, and this isn't a story.
Well, that don't have to. Let's be clear. That don't have.
Slow up, Slick.
Every great dynasty comes to an end.
Hey,
Tennessee don't have shit to do with it.
Hey, come on, man. We dedicated a whole time for that.
Just like all true Republicans, they may stab each other when the lights and cameras ain't on. Mm-hmm. But when the cameras are on, they standing there in unison, lockstep.
I think that's all politicians, but
nah, I wouldn't. Some Democrats need to learn that lesson.
You think Belichick's gone?
I wouldn't go as far to say that.
Nah,
I'm just saying that everything can't be true, but everything can't be false either. And normally when there's heat that comes with them, it's always a scandal with someone trying to accuse them of something. Mm-hmm. This is coming from the inside.
Exactly.
So I believe when there's smoke, there's fire.
And that's what.
And I have questions about some of the decisions they made leading up to this.
That's what Wickersham said. He actually had an interview today with Boston Media, because the question that was actually asked in his interview today was, why is it that a lot of the Boston media that actually follows the team, they were coming out on Twitter and they were basically poo-pooing the article, but then they were sending him DMs and saying everything you said in that article is spot on. And the question was posed to him, why do you think that's happening? For me, the smoking gun in all of this was the Jimmy G trade.
Yes.
It made no sense no one.
Apparently, I don't know if this is true or not, he did that because he has high respect for Kyle's father. Like, since he didn't want to do the trade, he called them and just gave them to him.
But when have you known Bill Belichick?
No. Meaning he didn't want to trade him.
No, Bill didn't want to trade him
That's
at all.
my point. So that's why he gave him away for nothing.
Well, he gave him away for nothing because the trade deadline was coming, and they made it very clear that they weren't going to trade him, that he wasn't trade bait, because the Browns offered them the number 4 pick.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And other goodies, which is quoted.
And other goodies.
Other
That's
goodies.
my point. He did it as that was his way of protesting.
And it's but here's the thing though, like, it's not like, we're not going to do any deals with the Browns. They just traded for Kenny Britt.
Oh, you're saying, Omar, that the 2nd round pick was a fuck you?
Yes,
actually.
that was all a fuck you.
Oh.
Because that's the way he rolls. Doesn't that sound like something he would do?
So then I ask again. Do you think none of you guys think Belichick's leaving?
If they win the Super Bowl, he's gone. Because then he can leave. I don't think he leaves if they don't win the Super Bowl.
I mean, but
he puts up with another year of Tom Brady?
If man, them motherfuckers can live together. I don't care what nobody says.
I think it's Tom that's getting to the edge of that, to be honest.
Well, Tom wants to keep playing for sure. Tom is all in, and if Seth's article is to be believed, and then Bill Simmons actually has had an interesting perspective today as well. But if the article is to be believed, this has really been about Tom Brady feeling insecure, feeling threatened, and using his power leverage to get to Kraft
and say, "Hey, because that's the only thing that makes sense. Why else would you do that?" I'm sorry, Kev.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about Tom Brady. Shit, ask Josh McDaniels. The way he was shitting on him on the sideline after he obviously the fault was on Brady. And if you look at how he's been playing the last month.
Right.
60% completion percentage, 6 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. He hasn't been the guy that we've all seen him be. So it's obvious now with this coming out, with the way he's been playing. Like Devin said, there's smoke, there's fire, and we've seen it on the sideline between him and his coordinator.
I also think that's one of the reasons why Patricia and McDaniels are running for the hills.
Because they see the incoming as well.
Yes, because they have none of them have never been pushing themselves out there as they are now.
Right.
Well, I think Patricia has to I mean, he could have gotten the job 2 years ago. He just didn't put himself out there like that. I think now is
that's my point. That they're doing it on purpose because they see the fire and it's time to go.
So let's stick with Josh McDaniels as we transition to Matt Nagy.
It's Nagy.
Nagy, the new coach of the Chicago Bears. Why didn't the Bears? What was wrong with McDaniels? You didn't want Josh McDaniels?
Are you asking me if I wanted Josh McDaniels? Or are you asking me if Ryan Pace wanted Josh McDaniels?
Why do you say McDaniels like an old black man from the '60s say McDonald's?
McDaniels. Josh McDaniels. What? Matt Nagy, for those of you that don't know, is the new head coach of the Chicago Bears.
Bear down, baby.
Bear down. We talked about John Gruden. He was announced as a coach today. Matt Nagy had his press conference. This is, for those of you that don't know, he's from the Andy Reid tree.
Successful Andy Reid tree.
Successful Andy Reid tree, yes. This is the same offensive coordinator.
Your coach is Andy Reid tree.
The same Matt Nagy, who was the offensive coordinator in Saturday's Tennessee Titan.
Was he, though?
Kansas City. Yeah, he was. He admitted in the press conference today.
I thought he just did the first
that was fans bullshit.
That was Andy Reid.
He stood up and said, "Nah,
it was me.
That was me. I fucked up."
He forgot.
No, he did the right thing though. He said, "This is my fault, and I'm gonna learn from that."
He forgot he had the best one of the best running backs in the NFL. Just didn't give him the ball.
I'm sorry. I've watched
5 times in the second half.
I've watched Andy Reid for like 20 years. The first half seemed like someone else. The second half seemed like Andy Reid. I'm just gonna say that
he took responsibility.
As he should, because he's going to.
He actually had a great news conference, though.
He had a great news conference. Here we go, Omar. Here we go. Let me hear it.
It went as good as it could possibly go for someone who was not embraced, especially by me.
Hey, well, Omar, don't be too upset because I think Ryan Pace also said that he had mixed emotions after watching the second half of the game that Mr. Nagy called. So
that's full
Omar,
of shit.
You're not the
that's
only
bullshit.
Bear.
Ryan Pace didn't leave Kansas City because he wanted to make sure Nagy was his man. That was the one he wanted from day one. There was no.
He wanted John Fox from day one too, didn't he?
No, that was
that was before him.
Yeah, no, he didn't hire John Fox. Don't put that on him.
Let
me say this, because I should have said this shit last week when we were talking about job openings and desired spots. If you take, because we're all friends and we all give each other shit, you take the Bears out of it and you're a coach and somebody tells you have an up and coming quarterback, you have a top 10 defense, right? Because we're 10 and 9 overall defense and 9 in scoring allowed. You have 7 picks in the draft. You have $60 million, which goes up once you release the motherfucker with the violin, the quarterback. What's his name? Glennon, yes.
Oh, I thought the violin was Mr. White.
So it goes up, but we have $63 million now. Mm-hmm. So you have talent. You have one of the best running backs in the league, and then you have a great playmaker, and you have 7 picks. Mm-hmm. You have and you have a top 10 defense and a top 10 pick, and you have the number 8 pick. Mm-hmm. That is a spot that coaches will want to come to. The problem is it's the Chicago Bears.
That's not the problem, man.
It is the problem.
What I don't understand is it's fine if you want an offensive guy, someone that to groom your young quarterback. Yeah, but what Josh McDaniels I think is better.
Why?
Well, one, he has experience as a head coach,
and he failed miserably.
And he failed right,
okay.
And you
so that's not a reason why he's better because he failed miserably.
and he's also played with the best quarterback.
Well,
To me,
Bill
that's not a
Belichick,
reason.
before
To
Bill
me, that's-
Belichick got his job, he failed miserably too.
And Sean
Pete
McVay was never a head coach.
And Pete Carroll failed miserably too.
Sean McVay was never a head coach.
I just
Kyle Shanahan was never a head coach.
We can't definitively say that McDaniels is a better coach than Nagy. We can't. That's not something that we can say. Because one hasn't done it and one was poor at it.
I know there was only one coach.
Because he did it.
There's only one coach in Andy Reid's whole history as an offensive coordinator that he let call plays, and that's Nagy. And when he called plays,
We should
all
have
of a sudden,
relinquished that a while ago.
right. But those 6 games is the reason that turned around their season.
Yes,
all
it
of a
is.
sudden, they were averaging 28 points a game once he got the play calling abilities.
Yeah, buddy.
All right, we will see.
I mean, I'm the one talking, but y'all ain't saying nothing else.
Well,
We
Because
listen to
we
you,
don't
baby.
believe you.
That's what I want to hear.
Doug Marrone. This was Doug Marrone after their playoff win on Sunday. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't concerned about our offense. Is it too late to be concerned about the offense, Dougie?
You mean to be in the playoffs?
Well, I'm going to say this. When I said for our playoff preview, when this same question came up about good old Blakey Blake,
Tell me how.
it's fuck or walk.
Mm-hmm.
And it's too late for this season because we're already in the playoffs. Unless he does a 360-degree turnaround this weekend, hit the bricks, pal, because a loser is a fucking loser. And if y'all don't know where either one of those quotes are from, it's from Glengarry Glen Ross.
First of all, if you questioning that, then it's too late.
Right.
If you're thinking about retirement, you retired already.
I mean, you
That
should
was
have been concerned.
God awful to watch
Yeah.
this weekend. That was fucking awful.
Kevin, without
Of
giving
course.
without giving up anything, is there anything that Doug can do?
First off, of course it's too late, but that doesn't mean they need to make any changes. My approach, and we've seen, I always compare them to the 2000 Ravens. I think Jalen Ramsey, if sleep, should go over to Blake Bortles and say, look, give me 10 points and or no turnovers. We going to win this game. Their defense just have to do everything, and they're good enough to put them in a position to do it. So
Kev.
just try to take the ball out of his hands as much as you can, and they
Kev.
will have a chance.
Kev, he isn't even half of Trent Dilfer, though.
He's
He
not.
isn't, but I told y'all when this season started that the Jags were going to be here.
Wait, hold on,
And
hold
they
on.
did.
six.
Hold on.
Keep it
The fact that no one argued with you when you said he isn't, he has to be the most disrespected player of all time.
Rightfully so.
Rightfully so.
Yeah, but no, there are bad
Charlie Ward.
No. That's not what I mean.
Nah.
No, but listen, that's not what I mean. There are bad players who other players don't disrespect because it's like, all right, we in this league together, we're brothers. People just don't like that motherfucker. Like, why is he the most He is disrespected on a daily basis.
He's trash.
Yes, there's been other terrible players who
But
aren't.
he's kept his job.
You understand what I'm
4 years,
saying?
5
I
years?
think it's his name. I do. I understand what you're saying. I think it's his name. I think he's got 2 last names. There's some alliteration. Blake Bortles. I
Sound
think
like a Marvel character.
I think
You're right.
But listen,
But it is
we
weird
all,
to me.
We all know who he is and what he is, but they've played 17 football games, this style of football, and they won 11 of them. So keep it going.
I think he is the recipient of the Kaepernick backlash.
He's the poster boy.
Yes.
we mad at you.
Yes.
Cap should have your job. Moving on to the Green Bay Packers, who they have fired everyone
Except
the offensive coordinator,
right now. I'm
offensive
scared.
coordinator Edgar Bennett gone. Dom Capers, DC gone. Teddy Thompson, they gave him the ceremonial firing. They said we're going to move you further up in the front office. They're probably going to lose Elliott Wolf to the Cleveland Browns. They fired everyone but Mike McCarthy.
Green Bay got me shook right now.
Really?
Because
They going after Vic Fangio. For their DC. And we trying to keep him. Like, not only if he leaves and then he goes to Green Bay, that would hurt.
so you think that they're doing the right things there.
Oh, no.
Green Bay.
That's not. They just got me shook for personal
You just
reasons.
shook a person. Devin?
No, my thing is this. He is clearly solely successful because of number 12.
Yeah.
solely.
And that's the only reason why he's still there.
That's the only reason why he's still there. But they're trying to cover that shit up because that Super Bowl ring gets you a long way, baby.
Yeah.
I thought it was 5 years.
Well, here's the thing.
But they won the Super Bowl. Next year they came back. They were 15-1, lost. They made the playoffs every year except for this year.
But you got to understand something. That's
But it's
a
all
different
because
place.
of 12.
It's a different place.
Yeah.
It's not like other NFL cities. They own the team.
Yeah, it's different.
It's a small town. Like, he is their hero because he won a Super Bowl, and his quarterback still wants him there.
Yeah.
That's all he needs.
But it wasn't him. It wasn't him. It was Ted Thompson that decided to not get running backs on the roster last year. They just was going to keep
the Ted Thompson thing I got. Like, the Ted Thompson I understood. Ted Thompson is stuck in the 80s with the way that he not necessarily builds rosters but adds to the rosters and his approach to free agency and like his how he neglects certain positions. But the OC, the DC, Mike McCarthy, like,
right.
Yeah.
In any other place, that's what they would be talking about.
Yeah.
Not there. It's just different. And at the end of next year, if the same thing is happening, then he has to work.
I think it has to be him. But same question could be asked about Andy Reid. Like, how long does he have?
Well,
Jay
Gruden, head coach of the Washington Redskins, when asked about Kirk Cousins, this is what he said. He said, "It's hard to say. Wow, this guy was really outstanding. Kirk had his flashes where he was really good, but from a consistent standpoint, we were 7-9. As far as getting us over the hump, he competed." Kevin, what does Jay really want to have happen with Kirk Cousins in the offseason?
I think Jay wants the team to commit if they're going to commit, and if they're not, do the shit now and get it over with. And I think he said what he needed to say without picking sides, because whether or not Captain Kirk stays, he's still that coach. So, I think based on their options, as Les and I so eloquently debated on our other program, the Skins could either apply the transition tag, which is $28 million next year, or the franchise tag for $34 million. Which in the transition tag will still allow him to go search for other opportunities, but the Skins would have to match it. So in my eyes, I think he said what he needed to say for the organization to commit to him, because that's what they should do. But if they don't, he still has to deal with management. So.
I agree with Kev. As a wise man once told me, either do it or don't. I got somewhere to be. That's Marlo
says it. It means something.
God. Do it or don't. I
think there's a hidden message in here, though, because although he was complimentary of Kirk Cousins.
He's hedging his bets.
Yeah, I don't know if he's hedging his bets. I think maybe what he's telling the organization is he's not worth the money. I think that's what he's saying.
Kenyon, guess what? It's too fucking late because they didn't spend 53 already.
Whatever, but if you're in a hole, stop digging. When he says,
that's why it's do it or don't. That's
when he says, as far as getting us over the hump, he competed. That to me says he's not a difference maker. Don't go breaking the bank for this guy, because then you're going to handicap me in other positions on the field. I feel like
the alternative is what, though?
Thank you. That was what I was about
to say. He feels very good about Colt McCoy.
Or sign him,
regardless of how we feel about it. He feels great about. He feels great.
Will be on another team just like Kirk Cousins.
Well, if your head coach calls you good and not great, because that's basically what he said.
That's basically what he said.
He said he's good, and the problem is, though, it's still fucking Colt McCoy.
Yeah,
regardless of it's Colt McCoy.
You look at Colt McCoy. Well, here's the thing, though. But you're talking about a season where we've seen the Case Keenum. We've seen come on, give me the quarterbacks.
But I think
Blake Bortles to a lesser extent. Colt McCoy, when he did fill in for Kirk Cousins 2 years ago, played really well. But
he also understands the fact that, okay, if you're going to sign this guy, just sign him, because we don't need that as a distraction.
That's another distraction
anymore.
I need him to be all in.
So it's more like, if he's my quarterback, I will fucking deal with it.
Yep.
But let's make him the quarterback, or let's do something else.
The most important.
We can't have an NFL franchise and keep doing what we're doing.
And a fucked up name.
Kev.
Put everything else around.
But I think, but not unless he's saying that in his mind, Colt McCoy and him are basically the same guy. When you say from a consistent standpoint, we were 7-9, That's what good gets you. Good gets
But
you.
that's not Cousins' fault that they were 7-9.
Well, but what good gets you is that if a few breaks go our way, a couple of injuries, or if we're relatively healthy, we go 9-7. If things don't go our way, which they did have some injuries, I mean, you can book Jordan Reed every year for injuries.
Book 'em.
They didn't have they didn't have a running back, and they went 7-9. Yeah. So
remember last year when before the season started, and we talked about it, like when they got rid of all the playmakers.
Yeah,
and it's like, are they doing that for Cousins? You know, to say, hey,
Pierre Garçon gone, Deshaun Jackson gone.
If you can win with these, fine. We give you some money.
Yeah,
he didn't win without him.
Okay, we are into the second round of the NFL playoffs, and before we discuss this weekend's games, we've got to do a postmortem on the wild card teams that have joined the rest of the NFL's dearly departed. The Buffalo Bills, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Los Angeles Rams, and the Carolina Panthers. Redo, you had the Buffalo Bills. The 4 questions are basically question number 1. What is the one thing from this season that the Buffalo Bills can build off of?
Yeah, head coach Sean McDermott. He has preached mental toughness, and it started to rub off on the team. And I believe going forward they made the right decision. So
obviously,
yeah.
What's the one thing that they can do in the off season that will allow them to go further?
Dynamic pass rushers. They were 27th in the league in sacks. So they need to get pass rushers.
Okay. What's the most important off-season decision that they need to make?
Find a replacement for Tyrod Taylor.
And you don't think that is the thing that they need to do in order to go further, is to address that quarterback position?
Shit, that's the same question. A trick question.
So you're off of Tyrod.
To go further, regardless. If they still have Tyrod and their defense was better,
yeah,
then they still go further. But Tyrod is yes, I'm off of Tyrod.
What's the one thing that they should do that we all know they're not going to do?
I don't know if we all know, but the one thing they should do is get running back depth. Get two backs. Just because LaShawn thinks he's the best running back in the league, he's also very fragile. So get running back depth.
That's
like a lot
interesting.
Of these teams.
That's interesting.
Ron Mexico too.
All right.
What did you say?
Oh my
Ron
God.
Mexico,
Kevin, you have the Kansas City Chiefs, who lost in ridiculous fashion.
Hey, Kenyon,
yes.
pull that out your pipe and smoke it.
Tell me the one thing that they can build off of from this season.
I think it's the versatility of their young talent. Patrick Mahomes, we assume he'll be their starting quarterback next year.
Yeah.
Tyreek Hill, Kareem Hunt. They kind of have their own big three. If you look at what Pittsburgh has going on, they have something that could be similar, but a lot younger and cheaper. I think they could use that to build their team around.
Okay, and then what's the one thing? What's the one thing they need to do so they can go? I can't even finish the question.
Kev. Give it to us.
So they can go further. I feel like this answer might be the same for the next 3 questions.
Well, okay, so the one thing, and we'll get there, the one thing I think that needs to get done in the offseason, I think half of that started today by promoting running backs coach Eric Bieniemy.
That really started today? You said that shit with a straight face, too.
To get him in as their offensive coordinator. We know what his real role is, but now that that's done, in my opinion, I think that they need to make a change at defensive coordinator and finally fire Bob Sutton.
Yeah,
it has to end. I mean, I know Eric Berry got hurt early in the season. Derek Johnson's been injured, but I mean, we always point to Alex Smith. Anytime this team comes up short, we always point to Alex Smith and say he's a problem. Granted, he owns some blame in this, but that defense is trash, man.
And it shouldn't be.
They're not responding to Sutton.
Right.
Okay.
Gotta move on.
So, biggest off-season decision that they need to make, or that they will make.
Off-season decision that they need to. Oh, and sorry, just one last thing. The largest, I would say, the one group that underperformed the most this season was that defensive line, which is coached by who? Andy Reid's fucking son. Anyway,
Andy Reid's son, is that the dope fiend? You know, he's got a dope fiend son.
that's Britt Reid.
Yes,
I don't know which
that's
one it
him.
is.
That's
but
the
he
dope
can't fucking
fiend.
coach.
Can't be. He got more than one son.
I thought one of them died.
No,
That's the one who died.
One of them did die.
The one who didn't die is a damn coach, and he's terrible.
No, the one that died was the Dauphin.
No, I don't know.
Okay, all right, come on, we going to dark.
fact that
We going to dark hole.
Let's
Yeah,
keep
come on,
moving.
come
Next
on.
question.
We can Google that
biggest-
Andy Reid dope fiend son and see what comes
God.
up.
Next question.
But they cut him, they saved $8 million.
I'm sorry, Kev, but
Um,
Sean McDonough was very excited about. He's the franchise leader in tackles.
He was excited the whole game.
Flat out excited. But because they got backup linebackers, Reggie Ragland and Kevin Pierre-Louis, who could definitely replace those guys.
Reggie Wagland out of Alabama, good linebacker.
Yeah. I don't think you release Alex Smith. I think you trade him because you can save about $17 million on the cap. And there are a lot of teams, most of the NFL, could use Alex Smith. And you could start a young talented team, kind of like Seattle did with a cheap quality quarterback.
Okay, and then the one decision that the Kansas City Chiefs should make.
Hey, good job by not making it all four of them.
That we all right, exactly. Kudos to you, Kevin, for hanging in there.
Yeah. Listen, y'all don't know how hard it was because it could have been the same answer, up and down. But yeah, the one thing that they should do that we all know is not going to happen is let someone else other than Andy Reid actually call plays on offense. I mean, this past weekend was just
Why he
evidence.
switched to me on the camera?
And look, after
got a
that
bitch.
loss, I think Devin may have referenced it earlier, but Andy Reid said that that Nagy called the good plays and Andy Reid called the bad ones.
That was
Like,
Andy
well,
covering for Nagy because he realized he was starting a new job. And
We don't know
Yeah,
the
but
truth.
then listen, but the writing's been on the wall, man. I mean, friendships have ended over this conversation.
Right.
Like, I mean,
Hey,
it's so obvious.
Hey, holler at my boy Skinny.
But I mean,
My
the
man.
problem's been obvious, and look, it isn't necessarily the what he calls because he's a great play designer. It's when he calls them. I mean, you got Kareem Hunt, one of the best running backs in football, and he touches the ball 5 times in the second half.
You know,
You blow a 21-3 lead.
you know it's a problem because Nagy actually convinced Alex Smith to start throwing the ball downfield. like Alex Reed. I mean not Alex Reed.
I can throw it down there.
Reed had him this whole time, never convinced him to throw it downfield. If you look at his statistics when Nagy took over, he started throwing the ball downfield and was good at it.
Dad got the Rams.
Yes, I do.
One thing that they can build off of from this season.
That they have the talent to actually win. Because they had the same squad the year before under Mr. Fisher, and they couldn't pull it off. And that their quarterback that they drafted number 1 overall is actually the future.
Okay.
While the puppet master's still there.
All right. And one thing that they need to address in the offseason so that they can go further next season.
In all bold and 22 font,
Yes.
sign Aaron Donald to a long-term deal.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
But he's in training camp early. They don't fuck around the first game or two. They're in sync. They maybe get a bye.
Maybe they get a bye instead of playing week 1.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is that then their biggest off-season decision to make?
No, because that's a no-brainer. They're going to fucking do it. The biggest decision to
think
make
so?
is actually to decide what their biggest needs that they need to address because they need interior O-line help, outside linebacker, cornerback, strong safety. And aside from their biggest improvement from the previous year, bringing in Andrew Wentworth to the line,
Yep.
they need to address John Sullivan, who's their center, he's a
Yes.
free agent.
Yep.
And their weakest link on the line was their right tackle or right guard. So they need to figure that out. They need to sign the center or they need to bring in 2 pieces. Outside linebacker Connor Barwin is a free agent.
Yep.
He's older. Do
Yep.
you sign him? Do you draft that position? Tremaine Johnson is nearing a big free agent deal. They already franchise tagged him twice.
Yep.
So they can't,
Got to pay the man.
got to pay him. Joyner and Roby Coleman are free agents.
What's their money looking like?
That
I'm doing research here.
Yeah,
Because
look at the cheerleaders.
I'm looking at the cheerleaders.
I'm not sure of their cap space, but
Are they
those
cut-
are their needs that they
Are
need
they
to
cutting
address.
Baltimore?
Hey,
Well,
stop it.
Let's.
Wow.
I might get to that. Next question.
Well, I'm going to ask you, what's the one thing they should do that we all know they will not do?
Not re-sign Sammy Watkins.
Wow, you think they're going to sign Sammy Watkins?
He led them in touchdowns. 8 touchdowns this year. The reason why they should not is because what is that free agent money going to look like for him? They have Robert Woods.
Yeah.
Who had 15 more targets, 27 more receptions, 200 more yards, just 3 less touchdowns than him.
Yeah.
They had Cooper Kupp, the rookie, who was second on the team in targets and receptions behind Gurley, but the same amount of touchdowns as Woods.
Yeah.
So that's making up for that production.
Yeah.
They also have Gurley, who was second on the team in yards,
right,
receptions, and touchdowns, which helps make up the difference in that. And then they can actually let Tavon loose in the slot if they decide that, because he's not a free agent.
Oh,
you're advocating keeping Tavon?
Do you bring back the 23-year-old clipboard holder?
I think you get rid of both of them. It's not like you can't address that in the draft.
but is that?
Oh, that
I wonder if it would be a dead money situation though with Tavon.
With
We'd have to look
Tavon,
at
I
that.
can see that.
We're definitely.
He's under contract.
I don't see.
Yeah.
I don't see the clipboard holder coming back.
Sammy Watkins.
Because even there he was a problem.
L.A. fan favorite, led the team in touchdown receptions, even though he should have caught.
But he
that
was a
fucking
problem
pass.
in the locker room.
We're definitely going to be looking at the Rams cap situation in our last episode of this season.
I wonder why.
I've got some real questions. Yeah. For Junior Blue, Gidwell Pierce. I will cover the Panthers. So what's the questions? Oh, one thing they can build off of from this season, McCaffrey. One thing they need to get done in the offseason to go further. The same thing as Kansas City, Kevin. They need to get rid of. They got a lot of old talent that they should let go. Julius Peppers, Charles Johnson, Jonathan Stewart. You got Norwell. You got Ed Dixon. You got Star Loda. Hey. They're all 30 over starters. They need to get young talent in. Biggest off season.
Keep Wilkes too.
Well, that's not gonna happen.
That's not gonna happen.
He's gone.
Who gonna hire him?
It's one of these teams.
Okay.
Rivera is prepared to lose him.
He King Rooney.
Biggest off-season decision to make. I think they've already made it, and that was getting rid of Mike Shula and Ken Dorsey. I think that.
I thought it was selling the team.
No, we're getting to that. Hey. I think that this. More so like it was, Ron fired Dorsey and he fired Shula, but this was really a message to Cam Newton. Cam's got to get better. And like just watching the team this year, that was the thing that really stood out to me is Cam, he has regressed. In the last 2 years, his numbers have gotten worse under Mike Shula, so hopefully getting in an offensive coordinator.
He does need more than one receiver.
He does, yeah, but he still struggles mechanically. He's way off target. Like,
I'm telling y'all, it all goes back to when they drafted him and the owner fucked up his mind. I really do think Cam needs Cam.
Place.
Yes.
Here's a name. Here's a name I'll put out there for their offensive coordinator spot is Gus Malzahn. Why not call Gus Malzahn? Gus Malzahn is someone who used to be a high school coach. And he made himself into a viable college coaching candidate. He was a high school coach in Oklahoma. Then he got the job at Tulsa. Then he went from Tulsa to Auburn. Now he's not. He can work his way up. He can work his way up, be an offensive coordinator, and then maybe become a head coach in the NFL.
I got
but
another
get him.
name for you.
Who's
if
that?
he doesn't get a job,
Who's that?
DiFilippo. He's a quarterback coach. He could be the OC there.
Okay. One thing they should do, but we all know that they won't, is they should disassociate themselves from Jerry Richardson. They should remove everything, every trace of him, name, whatever.
Treat him like Penn State.
He should be Joe Paterno. They should Joe Paterno.
They brought Joe back though.
Jerry Richardson, huh?
They brought Joe back from the grave.
Fine. Bring him back. Bring him back 10 years later.
After he's pushing up daisies.
Do like the country always does and forget their racism.
Exactly. All right, before we get out of here, let's take a look at our divisional games. We've got the Atlanta Falcons, who are actually 3-point favorites on the road versus the Philadelphia Eagles. The first time in I believe playoff history
I might be half right.
that a road team is favored over the home team in the divisional round. Anyone here taking the Eagles? No one?
It's only one bird in the sky, and we home for the winner.
Well, now, we did this last week with Kansas City and Tennessee, and there was an upset. All I'm saying is this. In 2016, the Philadelphia Eagles our Atlanta Falcons went to Philadelphia.
Are you taking the Eagles?
I'm not.
Okay.
But hey.
Nah, bro.
Here's the thing. No, here's the thing.
They're all when the head coach is like, nah.
They ran the ball well with Ryan Matthews and Rendell ran for over 200 yards against Atlanta last year. They've got LeGarrette Blount. They've got Jay Ajayi. The big thing was there were no turnovers from Carson Wentz. If you can get Carson Wentz.
Okay, where's he?
He's hurt.
All right.
But
Done.
Nick Foles.
Son.
Listen, Nick Foles, just don't turn the ball. We don't even need you to complete passes,
They're
really.
begging him just to be him. Like, when you have to go to him and say, hey, please just be yourself. It's a wrap.
It's not going to happen. One, the lack of experience. The lack of experience this year and the fact that the Falcons played a game this year and already. Why are you
bringing this shit up as if you didn't see that shit with Wentz?
I know.
Hey, I would give the Eagles a chance if they were playing in East Coast winter weather, but it's going to be mid-50s. Atlanta's going to be able to run their offense with ease.
Anybody picking the Tennessee Titans? 13.5-point underdogs against New England. No one. No one?
Tease it down, put $100.
There you go.
All right. Well, let's get to the two rematches from earlier in the season. First, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers. They are 7.5-point favorites over the Jacksonville Jaguars. This is a rematch from, I believe, Week 4. And Jacksonville in Pittsburgh absolutely obliterated Pittsburgh 30-9. Roethlisberger had 5 interceptions. Contemplated his NFL future afterwards. How do we see this shaping out a second time, Kevin?
I think the Steelers win, but I'm riding with my baby Jags. I've been grooming them since they were small, and then they grown for playoff football. Look, they have to make this game as ugly as possible. Like, it has to be unwatchable. Worse than last week for them to have a chance.
Yeah, I agree.
And if anybody can make a game ugly, Blake Bortles, you and your alliteration, I'm with you.
Here's the problem. Well, first of all, not a problem. Great TV will be Jalen on
AB.
That would be great TV.
Yeah.
But
watch it eating a few brownies.
But Bell out the backfield, Jalen can't guard them both. Like, I feel like this just offensively
they're gonna run the ball because that's what the Jacksonville Jags struggle in doing. If there's a struggle in defense, it's stopping the run.
Yeah, Buffalo. Yeah, LaShawn McCoy. He ate.
And let's be real here. It's not necessarily how much the Jags defense is going to stop the Steelers. It's the fact that the Jags aren't going to be able to score.
Yeah.
Kevin, what were you going to say?
They got to create turnover some way. But I think the last time they played, they shut Le'Veon down. AB had his LeBron James stat sheet stuffer game, but they weren't impact stats.
Yeah,
so I think if they can stop the run.
Tomlin mentioned it today, though. They're a very different team than they were in Week 4. We didn't know.
The Jags, too.
We didn't know Juju was Juju. Martavis Bryant was
acting an ass.
Was acting an ass.
The Steelers are gonna win this game, but I believe for some reason.
That was all Juju and Martavius. He was like, "This motherfucker took my spot. Never let a freshman take your spot."
The final rematch and probably the best game of the weekend: the Minnesota Vikings at home against the New Orleans Saints. Minnesota is a 4-point favorite, which in bookie terms means that Vegas really they don't know what's going to happen in this game. So they just threw 4 out there, and they're letting the public decide the line. As you guys know, I've been on the Saints for a while. I like the Saints to win. I just trust Drew Brees over Case Keenum. This was a rematch from Week 1. Minnesota won 29-19. It was Sam Bradford. It was Dalvin Cook. There is no Sam Bradford. There is no Dalvin Cook. Drew Brees actually had a good game in that Week 1 matchup. The problem, though, was Sean Payton was serving 3 masters. He had Mark Ingram, he had Alvin Kamara, and he had Adrian Peterson.
He got 2 now.
He got 2 now, but he got him in check. And I think that running game is going to be pivotal.
More than that, the rookie has grown up a little bit since then.
Yeah.
I'm going with New Orleans.
That
I'm going the opposite way. I think the fact that the Saints' offensive line is shorthanded. The guard broke his fist.
huge loss, Andrew Pease.
Against that defensive line.
It's an interesting point.
So, I said it a couple weeks ago. I trust Breeze too, but it's something about the Vikings this year. I mean, as long as Case Keenum doesn't shit the bed, they're the most balanced team.
And I was talking about Lattimore when I said the rookie.
I knew you were talking
yeah.
about.
I'm just making sure.
Kev?
Yeah, this is tough. So I'm looking at the first time they played. Kamara had 18 yards rushing. Mark Ingram was the Saints' leading receiver. 2 different teams now. If Lattimore covers Adam Thielen, if he can stop Adam Thielen, I think the Saints win because he lit them up last
Hey, how hard is it to believe in Keenum? It's like real hard to be like, nah.
But if you look at each game, it's not like he's doing like super ridiculous, amazing, lucky shit and getting away with it. He's being sound.
Playoffs, though.
Yeah.
He's being sound.
Playoffs is a different animal.
Agreed. I agree with that. He also has 2 very good receivers, Thielen
and Diggs.
and Stephon Diggs.
And a good tight end.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, this has been our episode 41 of 32 Kings Road. Once again, please follow us everywhere on social media. Our handle is @TheLeagueAM. Also visit our website, theleagueam.com. Check out our YouTube channel, League Ambassadors. Enjoy the games this weekend, and we will see you next week.
Dilly.
Cheerio.
Shout out to the NBA. They got they got a game in London on Thursday.
The coolest monkeys in the jungle.
Seth Curry with the shot. In reality, he's more like Seth, but he's all we got. Up next is Gentleman Jack, better known as Junior Blue. We told him not to do it anyway, but he did what he do. To his right is Devin, that dude, Eldad or Dirt Ass Dan. Just don't ask him a question, cause then he'll answer your question with another question, and then he'll add another question on top of that question. Damn. And I'm Red O, the Buck Wild Problem Child.
Flow Butter, aka John Cutter.
It's the League Ambassadors, and we playing to win at the 2-yard line. And make no mistake, we running it in.